30 marathons in 30 days. No rest, no excuses. Just miles and miles of sheer pain, sweat and determination. This is Brady Nankervis, endurance runner and mental health advocate who pushed his body and mind to the absolute limit. Today we sit with Brady to hear the raw moments, the struggles that almost broke him, and the lessons he learnt when he refused to quit. Strap in. This is a story of grit, courage, and the unbreakable human spirit. This is the Noah Jones Show. Good to go. Well, Brady, thanks a lot for jumping on, mate. It means a lot. You're a bloke who's, well, recently achieved a massive feat. 30 marathons in 30 days is the one that sticks out, but you're more than that. And that's what I want to unpack today. Your story, I'm so excited to unpack because, well, obviously a great bloke. We've had a massive chat already. Thanks for jumping on firstly, mate.
Not a problem. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're a local boy?
Very local. I live in the town that we're in now.
Yeah, correct. We won't disclose that.
Yeah.
No, very local. Were you always driven as a young kid with what, you've been able to achieve? Always driven?
It's hard to say, I think. I think I went through phases where I was a young kid. I think I was definitely driven, like one of those kids that during the summer I'd set up a slushy machine out on the street in the caravan park and sit there for like 8 hours just to end up with like $25 at the end of the day and be stoked with it.
Oh, that is...
So I always wanted to like hustle and stuff like that. In terms of fitness, I was very like sport orientated, but not driven in the way that I am now. And I think hitting like 17, 18 years old to 22, I definitely lost that drive for... A few reasons.
What kind of slushies were you making as a young kid?
Anything. I'll just get I can't remember the brand of it, but I remember it was the best thing ever. I just get a slushy maker and then it just shaved ice and you'd chuck like a cordial on it and I'd sell it to people for like $2 in the caravan park.
They'd go off today. It is a scorcher.
Mate, it is a scorcher.
We've had one video or one episode previously where it was like 40 degrees and we had to take a break, so we might need to take one throughout here too. But they would be going off making a lot with slushies now.
They would.
So did you always, I guess, like fit in growing up with that kind of mindset? Like it's a very good mindset, but not young kids have that kind of...
Oh, fitting in. I think I fit in, but maybe not necessarily the person who I really was. Yeah. I think like as everyone does growing up, when I think about going through school, you kind of change who you are so that people will like you. Mm-hmm. And in some way that shapes who you are. And then when you get out of school, maybe a few years out, and some people might not ever find it, but definitely I found through my growth, you get to a point where you're like, nothing matters what other people think. Yeah. And that's when I found like who I was. So I definitely fit in. Whether I fit in being the person that I genuinely am or like changing who I was so that others would like me, I'm not sure. I would say I definitely went through a lot of things, worried about how people used to think of me, always wanting to be like a popular kid or be in the popular group, fear of judgment, and that was through my whole schooling, I would say, and even a bit further after it. But I'd fit in, maybe just not who I truly was. I think.
What brought you to running? Because I don't know how long you've been running for, firstly.
Well, I ran my first marathon only 2 years ago, so Melbourne Marathon 2 years ago.
And you've done how many now? Well, you've just done 30 in 30 days, so it'd be well and truly above that.
I don't know. I think we were trying to count this while I was running one day. I think I'd done 15 before I started Project 30. Yeah. So give or take anywhere between 45 and 50, I think. Within
2 years is a fair amount as well.
It is a lot. Not all events as well. Very minimal events. As people would know, if you're going to do an event, you put a lot of time and effort into that one race and then you recover from it. But I just fell in love with doing hard things, and that meant sometimes like going out and running a random marathon on a Saturday or even, ultra marathons and stuff. But I never liked running. I never saw myself as a runner. I was decent at it through school, cross country and all that, but I was always like a local footy player.
Yeah. So have you run globally all around the world or mainly in Australia with marathons?
I've only ever done one international marathon, and that was Kyoto, Japan this year.
Oh, okay, yeah.
In terms of training, like in the past 2 years, whenever I've been overseas, like I spent a fair bit of time traveling, one of my big passions. But love just running to check out a new city, and I've done plenty of that. But in terms of actual races, only one overseas.
When you said you like wake up and do a marathon on a Saturday, is that you waking up and just deciding to do that just randomly, or do you kind of have an idea beforehand? Because
it could be either.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just be like, you know what, this weekend I'm going to run a marathon, and just like, it's funny, like a lot of people, you should prepare for this thing, but when you get yourself into if you get your body into a position where you can run a marathon off a whim, it's the best feeling in the world, because you finish it and you might not even be sore, which is like takes a lot of work to get to that point. And you realize that like you've built this vessel that can do this incredible thing for so long whenever you want it to. That's kind of the reason why you go back and do it. And sometimes sometimes I'll just wake up and I'll be like, you know what, I need to remind myself that I have a bit of dog in me.
Yes.
And then you just turn off the phone, head out onto the pavement for 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever it takes, and enjoy it.
So you might not know, you might be probably running tomorrow as a marathon. You might wake up and be running one. You never know.
I don't know.
You don't know. No, you don't know until you start running. That is very interesting. I remember watching a video, I think one of yours, or reading something about, have you gone and seen David Goggins at one stage? Was that in person?
Yeah.
And there was something that he said, or something that stood out, but I can't fully remember. Can you elaborate on that?
So that's the story behind me getting into running.
Yes.
So I was always a football player, and then for local footy, and then I just quit, one because we were losing a lot, and two because I was always getting injured. And I was just over it. And I remember me and a mate went to a David Goggins concert in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And I had on my New Year's Eve resolutions in my phone that I wanted to run a half marathon that year. Anyway, we went, listened to David Goggins, and then he did a Q&A at the end. And the Q&A went for ages. I got to speak to him, which was pretty cool because I obviously idolised him. That's the reason I went. And but this other guy stood up and asked him a question. And he said, David, do you have any advice for someone who wants to run a half marathon? And Goggins,
that wasn't you.
It wasn't me. And I was like, shit, like this is on my New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
And Goggins just looks at him like brutal as, just says, do you think one day you'll run the whole thing, run a full one? And the guy was like, yeah, maybe. And he just said, why the fuck are we even talking about it? He said, why are you talking about it? Just go out and run the half marathon and we can be done with this. We don't have to talk anymore. And my mind just went far out. That was my resolution.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? It's true, because if I just go and do it, I don't have to do it to the bet. Like, I don't have to do it super quick in an impressive time. But if I go do it, then that means I've ticked off one item of my yearly bucket list. So about 2 weeks later, or the next weekend or something, I said, you know what, I'm going to go do it. Started running. That Saturday I ran 24 Ks. I aimed for a half marathon.
Over.
Yeah, but I got I ran too far away from my car. And I was like, I got to get back to my car now. So I'm running back, and then I'm like, I'm still like 3 Ks away. And I just said, you know what, like, you're out here to do it. You're not going to stop running. You're not going to walk at all until you get to your car. So I did that, ended up being 24 Ks. And I didn't love running at that point. I just loved the thought of doing something really hard that challenged me. And at the end of it, I was like sick. Like it cooked me.
Yeah.
Like it was difficult, but I was like, I'm alive.
Yeah.
We can find something harder next.
Can you remember like that exact half marathon and like a stage in that run where, or like certain stages in that run that stood out in terms of like you could have, or you were close to stopping, that you kept going? Or was there a stage in that half marathon that stood out to you?
Yeah, for sure. It was after the 21 Ks had finished.
Yeah.
And then I was down near GMHBA Stadium, and my car was parked near the waterfront, and I had to run up the hill and over that to get back to the other side of Geelong. And I remember just thinking, like, I'm just going to stop and walk the rest.
Yeah.
So in the actual half marathon, I didn't have any idea of how to pace a run. I didn't have any idea of how far I could run. I think I might have just fluked it that day. Okay. Because the thing with a lot of people is they say, like, I could never run half a marathon. I'd probably say to most people, if you can run 10K, you can run a half marathon. You just don't realise it because you're running too fast. And I think I just maybe got away with pacing it correctly that day. But definitely once I hit 21.1 Ks, I was like, I'm going to walk to my car. And I really, really wanted to. But then I just said to myself, I probably said to myself, what would David Goggins do?
He wouldn't stop.
Nah, he wouldn't stop. So I kept going. Remember, I got to the top of the hill as well. It was at 23 Ks. I said, okay, now I can walk. And then when I hit that 23K mark, I said, why are you even telling yourself that? All you have to do is one more K and it's downhill. So just do it.
And then that feeling afterwards where you didn't stop and you made it.
Yeah.
Elite.
It's one of the best feelings.
Were there any early signs that you could tolerate discomfort better than others? Because you obviously push yourself to the absolute limits.
Nah, to be honest, I don't think so.
Yeah.
When I look, like, for example, David Goggins, I don't know if you've ever looked into his backstory or read his book, but he went through like extreme abuse from his family, from outsiders, racism, physical, mental, everything. And this, in a way, built him into the person he is today. I didn't go through any of that. I don't think there is. I think I just developed a love for doing hard things. And I think for majority of my life, I haven't wanted to be maybe like the average person. And that's sort of what's driven me. And I think I lost that, like I said, between 18 and 22. But I found it again with running. And before, I don't think so. There's anything that's given me any hints that I could be this person that could endure pain better than anyone else.
So it was that David Goggins concert that got you back into running? Is that what you're saying?
Got me back into... No, I would say it got me into loving hard things.
Okay.
I would say there was a period of my life, maybe pre-18, where I thought I might have been special in some way or another. I always wanted to be an actor or something like that. Yeah. And I was always the out there kid that was screaming and for attention, not actually screaming, but, you know, doing things for attention at like family gatherings.
Yeah.
And the family were always saying like, oh, you know, like you're going to be on TV and stuff like that, which probably gave me a belief in myself. I think, I lost it 18 to 22. And then afterwards, when I found the love of hard things from David Goggins, I started to find that again, I think.
Can we talk about that 4-year period from 18 to 22?
Yeah, for sure.
Where do we start?
I just think like many people who have the opportunity to go through success, especially, I don't know, in other cultures, obviously we grew up and live in Australia. From what I know in Australian culture and my own experience is that when I hit 16, 17, all the temptations of partying and alcohol come into the picture, and just like almost everyone I know fell into that. And I was very driven when I left school. I wanted to work in the health sector and I wanted to work in third world countries and make a difference. The uni degree I went into I really didn't like, so I dropped out almost immediately and I just jumped into a trade. So I started roof plumbing, and the thought process around it was I'll start doing this now, it pays well, and I'll just do it until I find out what I want to do. And then I was in it for 6.5 years, and I think I just fell into the tradie culture a little bit, maybe the local football culture a little bit, and everyone I knew was doing that. So it was just a lot of drink, party, fell into a bit of recreational drug use. That went on for a couple years, and when I look back on it, it's not that I didn't enjoy it, but I think that definitely killed the self-belief and purpose in my life. And coming out of that, probably even maybe after 22 years old, well, I'm 27 now, so like I haven't really been driven until 2 years ago. And it's all just that loop, I think. Drinking, working in a job that I really didn't like, being in cultures that might not be benefiting my purpose and pursuit in life.
So what were the darkest or most challenging time through that period was it for you?
It was definitely... I said I was going to be an open book, so I'm going to. I haven't really spoken about this openly with many people, but definitely a period in there where I was in a dark place due to the amount of recreational drug use I was doing, which could vary from every weekend to every month. I remember like one day I cut my hand open at work and I had to have plastic surgery on it. And I remember like a few weeks later, I was getting the stitches pulled out of my hand in hospital, and we were at a work breakup, and I was like, I'm not doing drugs. I'm not doing them. And then I got persuaded into doing it. And I remember waking up the next day, I had to go into hospital to get these stitches pulled out. And I was in the hospital room, like crying, trying to hold it in the waiting room, crying to myself because I was so bloody miserable. Texting one of my friends. I remember I texted her, I said, I think I have a drug problem. And I wasn't on anything hard. Like, I know there's a big drug epidemic in parts of Geelong, and I see it being like a mental health worker now. It wasn't anything like super hard, but I was like, I have a drug problem. And she was like, yeah, I think you do too. Oh. And I was like, fuck. Like, yeah. So that was like a seriously dark point for me. And that it just flows into other areas of your life. So like my relationships and stuff weren't in a position where I wanted them to be. I wasn't getting what I wanted out of life, and there was a period there where it was just like I was fighting, because you do them and it depletes like all your serotonin, and you just wake up feeling terrible, and then you just get stuck in another loop, and it's like come Friday you get that feeling, you do it again, and it's a terrible loop.
How did you respond to that time where like you thought you were in that drug problem, and then one of your friends agreed?
Yeah.
Obviously, that's really tough. How did you respond with that? Not like like not a message, but like as in, how did you get out of that realistically?
It's hard because sometimes you're in an environment where it's like so normalised, and it's not like I never had anything like against it, like some recreational drug use, and it can be such a dangerous thing as well. I think coming out of it, it's hard to even articulate what I did or remember what was going on in that time. Not because I was so fucked up or anything, but I don't know if I've blocked it out. But I think I just slowly started realising what it was doing to my own mental health, and just gradually weaned off it.
And there would have been times where obviously you didn't speak to anyone, I'm assuming, about your issues. How come?
Oh, I think in that sector specifically, like, I think it was just might have been a little bit normalised for things like that to happen, and I didn't feel the need to talk to anyone.
Yeah.
But I definitely, like, when in my early on stages of mental health struggles, I didn't know anyone else going through stuff. I remember saying I knew one other person that had anxiety, and I just thought having that was completely embarrassing for myself, because I got diagnosed when I was 18.
Yep.
And I felt like I couldn't speak to anyone about it. I felt like I didn't know what I was going through, so I felt like no one else knew what I was going through. And I mean, now I realise that, like, it's so common, like, and it's so okay to speak about it. But back then, genuinely, it was just what everyone calls the stigma was like so bloody real that you felt like you couldn't talk to anyone about your mental health issues. Did
you like want to talk to anyone, or did you feel like it was normal to just not say anything? Like, yeah,
for sure, normal to not say anything.
Yeah, so you didn't even feel like talking to anyone?
I didn't want to talk to anyone. So when I was 18, I was diagnosed with anxiety, and it was drug induced. So when I was traveling, not my fault, I'm going to say. Yeah. When I was traveling Southeast Asia solo by myself, I was in Laos, and one night when we were out, I got roofied. Woke up the next morning having seizures in hospital, like big ordeal. And from that point onwards, I never felt like the person who I was before. So I continued traveling. I was having like heaps of out-of-body experiences. Couldn't explain how I was feeling. Had maybe a month or two left of traveling with heaps of health issues. When I come home, we were just getting all these health tests done, because I was happy to say, like, there's something wrong with me. I was like, there is something wrong with me. And I thought it was I was physically ill. So I was going to get all these tests done, and we went to specialists with my mum. And at the end of all the tests, one of the specialists just said to me, there's nothing wrong with you physically. He said, I think you've got anxiety. And I was like, nah, I don't. Like, that doesn't happen to me.
Yeah.
And I was feeling physical effects of it. So I was like shaking 24/7, feeling ill. I was having panic attacks and I didn't even know what they were. And he told me, look, you've got anxiety. I got a care plan to be put on with a psychologist. Started seeing the psychologist, and I hated talking about it. I hated it. And I had a really bad experience with professional help. And the psychologist started to convince me that I was depressed as well. And in my mind, everything was like falling, like crushing. I was like, I'm never going to be the person I was before. Yeah. And like, why is this happening to me? And you can't think straight. Everything's spiraling. I ended up ghosting my psychologist. I didn't want to speak about it that much. So I didn't speak about it to one soul. The only person that knew, I think, was my mother at the time.
Wow. When you talk about like your anxiety, how can you describe day to day what that's like in terms of the panic attacks, and can you describe like what they actually are?
So back then, I'm very lucky. I haven't had a panic attack maybe 4 or 5 years. Yeah. I remember the last one I had in my friend's house when we were all my mates were drinking there, and it come on just out of nowhere with no prompt. So I just left the house by myself.
Wow.
Did some breath work outside. No one ever found out about it. I told my girlfriend who was there. But years ago, it would just be an intense feeling of paranoia. Either everyone's talking about me, looking at me, going to do something to me. And then uncontrollable shaking, cannot stop the mind. And then a breathing like you're literally feel like you're about to take your last breath and you feel like you're going to die.
Wow.
It's the worst feeling in the world. And I didn't know what was going on at the time. And no one had ever explained a panic attack to me either. You feel like I was genuinely, every single time I was like, I'm going to die right now. And there's nothing making me do it. It's just happening.
Wow. Is it something like your lungs, something about your lungs like closing up? Or
feels like
it feels like, but it's not actually. I don't know
what the actual...
Like, is it more of a mental thing?
Yeah.
Like, so it's not actually your lungs closing
I actually don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm not sure if it's you're physically losing space in your lungs.
Yeah.
It's definitely... it's mental, but it has physical effects.
Yeah, that makes... okay.
It's a mental, like, disease, anxiety. But a panic attack, like, I feel the physical effects of it. Like, it'd be like someone having an asthma attack.
Yeah.
That is like, doesn't have an inhaler nearby.
Yeah, really bad. Well, and then you said you like went outside to do breath work. Did you make the breath work up yourself, or did you kind of get advice? What kind of...
It's funny because when this all happened, I felt like I lost who I was as a person. And the way I explained it to everyone is I relearnt who I was as a person all by myself. And I felt like when it happened, I was robbed of who I was, especially because it wasn't my fault. So like, I think it wasn't my fault that I got roofied that night. And the effects of what happened on that night happened. Yeah. But I relearnt everything by myself. I didn't have any guidance because I had the psychologist. I reckon I did 3 sessions with him and he was making me worse. And I didn't want to speak about it to anyone, so I ghosted him.
Because he claimed that you had depression at the time where you probably thought you didn't.
I remember 100% because I didn't know what anxiety was in the first place. I knew the word. And then I'm learning what anxiety is. And the more that they tell you, the more he was telling me what it was, the more real it was becoming.
Yeah.
And he was saying then these symptoms happen. So then once he'd say that, then I'd get the symptom.
Wow. Yeah.
And then he was like, I remember coming into a session and he was asking me how I was feeling. And I was talking to him about it. And he said, have you considered that you've got depression? And it was another one of those moments where I was like, no, I haven't thought about it once. And then from that moment, I was depressed.
Yeah.
And I was like, now I don't know how to get out of this.
Yeah. And then now that he's brought it up, you think about it.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I said to him, like, no, I'm not. And he goes, oh, I think you are. And then, look, he's a professional. He could have been right. And it could have just been one of those glass, like, shattering moments where you realise what's going on. but I didn't feel comfortable with him.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because I'd love to spread the message like, seek professional help. This is a success story that I've had.
Yeah.
But I just personally didn't have that.
Yeah, well, you'd think from a psychologist, you'd probably get a bit more support than that. You'd certainly hope so.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So then, like, on your way into, like, getting out of that situation with your breathing work and everything else, what else did you do to get out of that area?
Time heals all wounds, I think. Like, I wasn't born with anxiety. I think I developed it, obviously, from what happened. But I'm a very proactive person. So if I know something's going to happen, I'm happy to do the work to stop it. Like, look after myself, like, work out, eat healthy. I'd be happy to walk outside and stand in the grass and do breath work for 10 minutes if I know it means I'm going to have a better day. Whereas I think some people might not have the resilience or might not have the discipline, or what some people might think you need motivation to do, to be able to get out of bed when you really don't feel like it, to go do those things that are going to make you feel better.
Yeah, wow. So do you think you would have done those challenges of like raising money and running 30 marathons without those struggles? Do you think you would have pushed your body to absolute limits if you didn't go through that?
I've never thought about that, but I think I definitely think it happened for a reason. Like, I'm glad it all happened, because my partner will be happy with me saying, like, when we met, she was like a very anxious person and she's gone through her own struggles, and me going through the experience that I had meant that I knew how her brain was working. So I worked on myself, and then when stuff was going on with her, she would often say, like, you know me better than I do, or like, you know my mind better than I do. Or if something was happening, I would know how she's feeling, so I could be like, provide sympathy or empathy, and then I could help her get out of the situation.
Yeah,
so
wow.
It does, like, and when you say that it might have been the reasons why I've gone into these challenges, then it could have been.
Yeah, it's because did you run? Well, you didn't run far until that first half marathon, didn't you? And that was after.
That was well and truly after.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And then your choice to do the 30 marathons in 30 days. Can you talk us through why this and why that exact measure of running? Because it's extreme.
It obviously started with the love of doing hard things from the original time I met David Goggins and how things have progressed. So started off with the half marathon. Never enjoyed running. My mate signed me up to my first marathon. We did it. We were like, this is going to be a one-off thing. Decided to do another one just to try and get a sub 3 hour. Did
that's
that.
Quick. Your second one going sub 3 hours is rapid.
Yeah. And then I was just like, I might be half decent at this. So then next thing I wanted was my first 100K. So then I went and did that. And then I just wanted to keep building. And this year was like a massive year of running for me. So when I got halfway through the year and there was nothing planned out after it, I knew I wanted to do something big. I knew I wanted to push myself, and I knew I wanted to make a difference in the mental health space, specifically Geelong. And I just wanted to run I was like, I'm going to run a marathon every single day for a certain period of time. I'm going to do it while working. And it just happened to land in November, because when I made the decision, gave me 5 months to train for it still. And I was like, it's going to be a beautiful time of the year. I'll do one every single day in November. And that's just how I came up. There's no reason it was 30 days. The 30 days is just because it was 30 days in November.
Yeah. So it was, again, that kind of wake up and, like, you decide to run a marathon, decide to run 30 in a few months' time.
100%. Like, I was reflecting on this the other day, and I think every decision, all my success in the last year in running has been made off a decision that's popped into my head on a random day, and I've committed to it there and then. So I remember I ran UTA 100, which is a ultra trail race through the Blue Mountains, 100 Ks, 4,500 meters elevation. That was in May this year, and we were traveling last year. And I remember we're in Austria, sitting at a table having a few red wines, and my mate sent me a message. I'm doing this. No, he posted on his story, UTA, his registration ticket. And I just replied to him, not alone, you're not. And like the next 5 minutes, bought the ticket.
Wow.
And then I'll just force myself to go do this really hard challenge I'm going to have to train for. But it was the same thing with Project 30. One day I just thought, I've got to do something like this. And that day I messaged Sean Bell, shout out Sean Bell, who's my coach. And he broke the record for running around Australia last year.
Wow.
So that day I messaged him. I think we jumped on a phone call that day or a few days after, and it was locked in. And then I went and told it. So after I made that decision, it might have been a one-day decision. Then I went and said to my partner and other people, I said, I'm going to run a marathon every day in November.
Wow. So let's go to that 100 kilometre race before the 30 marathons, because that's fascinating. When you signed up to that after your mates put it on his story, was the furthest you've ran up to that 42K? Or
No,
you did a bit
I've done
further?
100 before.
100. And how long did you... Well, what was that one, firstly?
So before we went travelling, I think I ran the Ballarat Marathon in April. We were going travelling in June, April, March, May. And I just said to myself, I want to run 100K before we go away. So just like one random Sunday, I think it was, I didn't train specifically for it. I just said, it was a week out from it. It was like 2 days before we were going travelling. And I just said, this Saturday I'm running 100K through Geelong. And it got to the Friday and we were at work, and I remember I was crook, and it was the middle of winter, and I was on the top of the roof in Tullamarine we were building, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm sick right now and I don't know, I want to run this 100K this week. Went home from work that day sick, went straight to the doctors. They're like, yeah, you got tonsillitis.
Oh.
I was like, oh no. So they gave me antibiotics. I'm on Google, like, what antibiotics do to you. Where they're like, everything's saying when you run with them, like, increases your perceived effort. So it's going to take a lot more effort to do a lot less than what you usually.
Right.
And I just said to myself, I'm not taking them. I'm gonna trust that my body heals itself. Do everything right. I was really into my food and my nutrition, so I just did everything naturally. And on the Saturday, I couldn't run it. And I just said, you know what, on the Sunday, I'm going to do it. So I woke up on the Sunday and I ran the 100Ks. At about 18 Ks in, I thought I was cooked. I wanted to do it in under 5 minute pace.
100 Ks in that pace.
So every 20 Ks, I'd stop the watch to refuel.
Yep.
And I ended up doing it. So I think I got I did it in 4:58, something like that. Obviously with the stop. So if you check my elapsed time, it would be longer.
Yeah.
But that was the hardest thing I'd ever done at the time.
How long? Well, can you do the math on that?
It was just over 8. It's like 8.5 hours or something.
Wow. So then we go to the Blue Mountains 100K, which is, I'm assuming, up these trails and down these trails and all sorts. Which you said 4,000. What was the elevation?
4,500 meters.
Wow. So, and how long did that take you?
That took me 13 hours and 33 minutes.
So you start, I'm assuming, early morning?
Start maybe 7, or you start before sunrise. So the idea is I got put in the elite group because I had a really fast marathon time that I ran this year.
Yep.
So I rocked up and I was in the first group with the people that are
they go straight away.
The winner runs 9 hours, which is
up that.
Yeah, it's unfathomably quick. And I was 3 weeks prior, I was pacing the Ballarat Marathon 3-hour group, and I DNF'd, so I pulled out at 27 Ks because I was having heaps of health issues. Yep. Found out I had glandular fever. Didn't train for from the moment Ballarat Marathon finished until UTA started. Didn't train. Looked up if I could get out of the race. Couldn't postpone my race. Couldn't sell my ticket. Didn't tell anyone I was going through all this stuff. Just manifested, did a whole lot of meditation, prayer. I'm like, I need to get to the start line of this. And I did. And sub 14 hours is a silver buckle. That's what all the quicker people are trying to go for.
Yeah.
So the winner gets a gold buckle. Anything under 14 hours, you get a silver. And then I think it's anything under 24 or something might be a bronze. And
silver buckle for you.
Got a silver buckle, so
wow.
I was stoked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And I mean, when you're running through that that length at that time, do you get to take in the scenery, or because it would be hard to, but to appreciate it in that pain? But the Blue Mountains is a beautiful area.
Unreal. So it was the first time I'd been there, and I remember we took off. The idea, before what I was saying, the idea is you take off before sunrise in the first group, and you get to see the sun come up, and you look like you're just on top of the world because you're above the clouds.
Yeah.
And so the first 10Ks maybe, I was like, this is unbelievable. I can't believe all of this. And then the rest of it was just like, I was locked in. So, no, I didn't enjoy the scenery until I think like 80K in. I thought I wasn't going to reach my goal. So I got to the 80K point, and my crew were there, and they have a predicted time for you finishing. And I said to them like, oh, what's my predicted time? And they said like 14 hours and 40 minutes or something, 14 hours and 50 minutes. And I knew I was like, 50 minutes is too much to make up over the next 20K. So I'm just going to enjoy it. And then when I left that aid station, the sun was setting. Oh. And it was like one of the only videos I took the whole time.
Wow.
And I was like, this is unbelievable. It was me and one other dude watching the sunset. And I was like, I'm just going to enjoy the rest of these 20Ks. I'm not going to be racing anymore because I knew I couldn't get the silver buckle. Like 5 minutes later, this other guy comes running up behind me, and he said he'd run the course a few times before. And I said, is it possible to finish this? I think we had like 3.5 hours left to get the silver buckle. I said, is it possible? And he just said to me, I remember him saying to me, he said, mate, if we run all these downhills, run as many flats as we can, then just grit our teeth, climb the uphills with everything we got. He's like, mate, we're going to fucking do it. And I was like, are you serious?
There's a chance.
Yeah. I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, mate, we'll get that silver buckle.
Yeah.
And I was my mood just went through the roof. I was that G'd up. Oh. And I was like, bro, I could picture it straight away in my mind, me and this guy running through the finish line together, dabbing each other up in under 14 hours. And from then on, I just took off. I was with him for about 4 minutes, and I just ran, took off on him, and I pretty much...
Well, you pipped him.
Gave it everything I had for the next 2 hours, and I wiped like an hour and 5 minutes off my predicted time in the last 20Ks. And I remember it was the best moment of my life.
I'm assuming that was the hardest part in the run, or was it kind of mentally you kind of the pain went away?
I think the pain went away because I was so G'd up.
Wow.
There were some chemicals being released in my brain that...
Did the bloke...
I didn't see him again.
Oh.
I
wonder if he got a silver...
I don't know.
Fuck him.
He said to him, he's like, oh, my knee's playing up. And I just remember thinking, as soon as he G'd me up, nothing hurt.
Yep.
I was legging it.
Wow, that's cool as. So now, that's the Blue Mountains. Now we go to the third. I think we were talking about the 30 marathon, 30 days. I forgot what we were up to, but that was a good story. Now, did the idea... I mean, I know you made up the idea. I'm assuming it didn't scare you. This was one of my questions. Did it, like... Were there any hesitations at all, or anything that was like, I don't know if I'm going to actually go ahead with this? But you seem like a bloke that's like, oh, I'll do it when I say it.
No hesitations. Yeah. It obviously scares me. I think it was so far in when you plan it so far in the future, you can't get like the initial fear. But the reason you do it is because it scares you. The reason you do it is because you're like, this is hard. This is really going to challenge me. I want to put myself in a position where I'm going to want to quit multiple times and just have to find a way to get through, because that's just where I found the most joy in life, and that's where I think you learn the most about who you are as a person. So that was the feeling I was chasing.
Did you understand how brutal it would be? Did you have I mean, I know you've run this far before.
Yeah.
But 30 marathons in 30 days.
I was naive enough to think I'd get through a lot easier.
Yeah.
So when I signed up for it, I wanted to do it in August, which was like 2 months away. And my coach was like, why do you want to do it in August? And I was like, well, the Sydney Marathon is on the 31st of August. So my last marathon will be Sydney Marathon. And that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
But we made like the sensible decision to do it in November, which I was happy with. But the whole time I was training for it, it was just lingering there. I was like, I want it to start right now. I want to do it right now. Because I thought I was ready. But I trained very hard over those 5 months. And I thought I'd get through uninjured, unscathed. And I think I was injured by day 12 or 13.
Still not even halfway.
No.
The fact that you got through that, unbelievable. Did anyone try and talk you out of it? Or was everyone, like, was there anybody that's like, or at least saying you're not going to do it, mate?
So most of the people's reactions are like just shocked.
Yeah.
A lot of people know, oh, this is the type of person
Yeah.
that I am. So that
They
doesn't
believe,
surprise me that you're going to either attempt it or do it. There was a couple people that I wouldn't say, maybe not so much accepting of it, were like, this is kind of detrimental to your health, like you're going too far doing this, pushing yourself, and well, yeah, it's kind of like the reason you do it. Not the fact that it's detrimental to your health, but the point of is you do take it a bit too far, and then you realise that you can do it.
Yeah.
And then I had a couple people afterwards who have always been supportive of me that said, when you said you're going to do this, we thought, no, you're not. Like, you're not going to do this. And then I did it, and they're like, you know what?
Good on you.
Yeah, you did it.
Yeah. How many Ks have you clicked over this year on Strava or whatever? Because you'd be...
I did my Strava Wrapped the other day. I could tell you if I pulled out my phone.
Yeah, pull it up. Because, I mean, the most I've seen running is probably like 3,000 or 4,000. Really, but you'd be
on a Strava Wrapped.
I think so. Or, I don't know, just total K. It's probably like 3,000 K running. But I'm assuming you'd be over that.
I did this...
Maybe 2,000. Probably
7th
2,000.
of December. So only a couple runs since then. 4,248.
Yeah, that's more. That's the most, I reckon.
Yeah.
And you've still got more in you to the end of the year.
Yeah,
a
still
few
got some
days,
time.
perhaps.
When I posted that, one of the ladies who follows me commented like, "No, it's not even the end of the year yet."
Yeah,
and I was like,
that's unbelievable.
I'm not throwing the towel in, but
4,000 K is how far is the lap of Australia? I don't know how many K. Do you know
I could not tell you.
that? You tell you what, that's probably the next thing you'll be doing. Will you be even considering that?
I don't think so.
No.
Oh, you never know. Sean Bell, like my coach who has the record, I saw what he went through, and it's not that I wouldn't want to go through that, but he trained for that for 6 years.
Oh, to do that! Wow.
Well, it might have been an idea for 6 years, and he's progressed up to it. He did it in the right way. It's been well and truly over a year and a half since he finished, and he's still cooked from it.
Actual.
So you got to weigh up when you're going through something like this. You got to weigh up whether consequences. Yeah. So these could have serious detrimental to your health. His has just been a foot injury, but the foot injury has proper cooked him.
Wow.
And for someone whose whole life has been reaching goals in running, to not be able to run for a year and a half changes your lifestyle dramatically.
Yeah.
So whether I'd want to go through something like that, I don't know.
Well, I know. Well, Ned Brockman ran across Australia whenever that was, a year or two ago. Didn't he get like maggots in his toes and all sorts?
Yeah, lost a few toenails and the maggots were growing in there.
I don't know if he had any injuries afterwards or whatever. I'm sure he probably would.
Yeah, I think he was cooked for quite some time, but then he come good again.
Yeah.
And then since then he did the 1,000 miles around the track. I think he pulled up all right from that as well. It cooks you. It fully cooks you. Like your hormones. Not for me personally because I didn't go that extreme, but it cooks your hormones, cooks everything, like your muscles, ligaments, tendons, your sleep.
Yeah.
Probably changes the chemistry in your brain, to be honest, because it's like you're pushing yourself in sleep deprivation for so long. Then when you come out of it, things are supposed to be normal. Like your brain wouldn't even know how to act.
What's been the worst consequence, I guess I could say, for you running? Like, would it be the 30 marathons? Would that be the most, like afterwards, recovering?
Yeah.
Would that be the most challenging way to recover?
I think like I got lucky.
Yeah,
I
you
think.
did well.
So I pulled up with a bit of Achilles tendonitis. So all my issues were on my left side of the leg, and every other issue that I was having was developing because I was compensating for that.
Yeah.
So the main thing in the end was like my Achilles. I pretty much couldn't use it as an Achilles. So everything else was compensating. So by the time when the last day finished and I took off all that load, everything sorted itself out except for the Achilles. And then it's just a bit of Achilles tendonitis, which has gotten better every single day. And I've been proactive about it. So I've been doing a lot of ISO holds. And the thing with Achilles tendonitis is you don't want to put it through its range of motion using weights with it. You just want to hold it there with a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And at the start, it really hurts. So it feels like you shouldn't be doing it. But then it's progressively making it better.
Yeah. day or part in this whole month of running was the hardest? Because you said day 12 it really got to you. Would it be that day exactly?
It's funny because like there was a complete difference between the hardest day mentally and hardest day physically. So the hardest day mentally was day 6. I ran in Ocean Grove. It was a terrible decision to run there. The track was like hilly, boring, and I ran by myself. And it was like significantly easier when I was running with other people.
Yes.
So I remember finishing that marathon being like, I am so done with this day. I just wanted everything from that day to be over. But it was hard physically, but not the hardest. But then come like day 13 or 14 when I was proper injured, and at that point I met the physio that got me through the last 14 days. Shout out Jess from Move Sports Physio and Tanner. They are truly the two individuals that got me through the second half of the challenge. I didn't meet them until like day 15. So day like 13, 14, I was trying to fight this injury off my own back and trying to figure it out. And those days were extremely hard, difficult.
Well, what I was going to ask was, I mean, these questions I had but I'm going to ask you anyway, because I'm assuming there's going to be a no, but was there a moment where you woke up and thought you actually couldn't get it done? But you seem like a bloke that's like, I'm always going to get it done.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of question that probably is self-answered.
Yeah. I told myself, no matter what.
Yeah.
From the very start, I had it on a whiteboard, I had it in my mind every single day. Never, ever would I question myself whether it was not going to get done.
Yeah.
From the very start, I knew if I was going to have to walk a marathon every day, I would have done it.
Yeah, okay. When you're like in intense pain, and if there is a thought where you're, not going to make it or whatever, or you're really struggling, what do you do to overcome? Like, what do you think in your mind? Because I know when you were talking about that run in Geelong where you're going down the hill, last K down the hill.
Yeah.
Is that the kind of things that are going through your mind, like just ticking off the Ks?
It's funny because I feel like when people ask me a lot, like, what did you think about during the run?
Yeah.
And I just don't know. I don't know what I thought about. And
Just
it's the same thing maybe when pain goes in. A lot of the time I was thinking to myself, it's really difficult to get your brain away from pain when it's happening every single step. So the pain was happening when I was landing on my left leg. So now every time I was running, every time my left foot hit the ground, I was thinking to myself, is this pain getting worse? Or can I still feel that?
Yeah.
And then you're giving more attention to the pain, which makes it worse. It's like you're manifesting pain in your body. So there's a few different things that I tried. One is you try to meditate while you're running and bring yourself out of your body. So you try to picture yourself running, or you picture literally your surroundings, separate your mind from your body. And it's very difficult to do for a long period of time. You can do it for maybe, honestly, a kilometre. Well, I can anyway. I'm not super skilled in it. And then another thing you try to do is live in the pain, but that would just
make it worse.
Kill me.
Yeah.
It would kill me. So there's a lot of different things that you could try. In the end, I kept telling myself that pain is pleasure.
Yep.
And I'd be like, love to be in this pain right now. This is why I do it.
Yeah, when you say get your mind out of your body, and you said picture the outside surroundings, is that like, can you elaborate on that?
It's very hard to explain.
Is it like imagining yourself or someone else and seeing you run by, or like imagining you as like a bird?
Almost. The way I picture it sometimes is there's like a drone following you.
Yeah.
And I can see myself running, and I try to focus on that, and I'm not actually the person doing it.
Yeah, okay. So you're kind of watching yourself run.
Yeah. It's very difficult when you're in pain because your mind just wants to go back to your pain because you can't think about someone else being in pain when you're the one physically feeling it. And then when you just like zone out sometimes, and you might just be looking at someone or something, and someone be like, what were you thinking about? And you're like, nothing. Yeah. You try and get into that state. Yeah. You might try and zone out at the trees ahead of you. Yeah. And then that way you distract yourself from the pain. That's the best way I can describe it.
You said day 6 was mentally the most painful.
Yeah.
And then you had other like physical pains. If you look at all the 30 days together and put them overall, what was more painful, mental or physical?
Physical, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you surprised about yourself, about completing it? Or did you always know you were going to? Again,
yeah,
same
I
thing?
knew, yeah.
Yeah, always knew.
I knew there's nothing that I would have stopped for.
Yeah. The people that ran alongside you, how many were there?
Oh,
'cause
throughout the whole month, the support was incredible. I wouldn't know how many people all up, but from a massive range of people that I've known or who I know in real life, and then just like heaps of people, strangers from the internet and Instagram, because I'd post every single day, this is where I'm going to be, the run I'm going to do, and people jumping in.
And how important was that to you to get through?
So important. Because I said to myself, I'm going to do the first 20 days without headphones. And I did. And I think I ran like 3 days by myself in the total of the 30.
Okay.
And they were all significantly harder.
Yeah.
In some of those days, I was like, maybe run half a marathon by myself and half a marathon with people.
Yeah.
But just meeting new people, conversating with them while talking, like really brought yourself. It's like a form of meditation. You're not thinking about the pain. And I actually had just really meaningful conversations with people throughout it, because I was that guy who people were coming to for their both success stories in their own mental health, or maybe a lot of people who have been affected by suicide or mental health, like extreme unfortunate circumstances, but they were happy to come share it with me. And it just meant that I was having more meaningful conversations in that month rather than just shallow level stuff.
And this is while you're running.
While I was running, yeah.
So was it those kind of convos that were the most meaningful and the most,
for sure,
like the better ones you had? For sure.
There was one day, so day 4.
Yeah.
Because at the start of this, you're doing it for mental health, but all I can think about is I'm running a marathon every single day.
Yeah.
So I'm raising money for mental health, but really I'm there thinking, shit, like another marathon. But day 4, I woke up from a message from this lady called Melinda, and she shared a story with me on Instagram. I was sitting on the toilet, and she had lost her young boy, Lockie, I believe he was 15, to suicide the year before. And she told me a story about him, how he was like a champion swimmer, like the type of boy he was, had everything going for him. And I was just sitting there on the toilet crying, and I was like, fucking hell, man, like this is actually affecting people. Like, and she was thanking me for it. And she said, I want to come out to your run today and meet you. And I said, yeah. And I remember we went down to Landy Field, and I was super nervous to meet her because I was like crying on the toilet from her message. And then I met her, and she come up and hugged me, and she was like, you're the reason I got out of bed today. And I was like, fuck, man, like that was heavy. And I was like, I'm so happy you're here, Melinda. Dedicated that day to Lockie. I got her to write her son's name on my arm. We ran off together, and then she disappeared 5 or 6 Ks in. And then when I finished that marathon, this was only day 4. This made it feel like I was so deep in it. I returned, got in my car where I normally like finish the video that I'd film at the end of it. And I've got another message from Melinda about Lockie and how much this means to her. And I just started bawling my eyes out in the car. And Melinda and I just back and forth on Instagram. She's like, she's crying, I'm crying. And I put up a video that night after the 4th marathon, and I was crying in it in Instagram. And that video, everyone was putting it on their stories, sharing it, because it was showing how this was like genuinely affecting people, and in Geelong. And the reason I was doing this was like so that we could get mental health and suicide prevention workshops to the sporting clubs in Geelong for young people like Lockie. And so many people related to that. That was the point where me, and I think everyone else, my partner, all my friends, were like, this is so much bigger than a run.
Yeah.
And it also had a flow-on effect from other people reaching out. This is my relationship with bad mental health. This is the experiences I've had with suicide. And it made it so much more meaningful than just me pushing myself for 30 days.
Did you have any idea how many people, because you've impacted so many people, did you have any idea that you'd impact this many people before the run? Not at all.
No.
Did you have any idea that there'd be that many people running with you?
Nah. I was like, when I pictured doing this, I pictured myself running alone every single night in the dark. That's how I pictured the month to be. And when it wasn't like that, and I had the whole community support around me, it was unbelievable. I couldn't have fathomed what it was going to be like. And you just don't realise like the mental health issues that people are going through so close to your home. Because I'm like, I didn't know anyone who had either committed suicide or been affected by it within the last year before this challenge. And within the challenge, I'd met like
Heaps.
50 or knew of like 10 people that had like unfortunately like taken their own life in the past couple months. And I was like, this is everywhere. And I've been blind to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's unbelievable how like something like what you've been able to do has allowed people to open up a lot too, because they probably wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah.
And the fact that the importance of people as well, because like without them running with you, it would have been a lot harder, and it would have been a big struggle as well, even though it was a struggle as it was, but it would have been so, yeah, uplifting to have people with you as well, and just to discuss all that too. What was the reason? Because there's so many mental health projects like around the area, I guess, and across Australia. What was the choice with choosing the Shaka project?
Yeah, so the Shaka project I found through Instagram, because I'd seen the mental health and suicide prevention workshops through Instagram that they were actually doing in like the Geelong local football clubs.
Yeah.
And the reason I chose them was I could have done it for Movember or Black Dog Institute or one of the big guys, but I knew that I could see where all the money was going towards with the Shaka project. And not to say that the other guys aren't doing amazing things, but I knew I got to meet the Shaka project guys in person. There's only 2 of them that work there full time. I could discuss with them how we want to go about it, where the money's going to go, and in that way the people who were involved with it in the Geelong community felt like they were giving back to their own community, and they were. So I chose them. I didn't want... It's tough to say. Like, I think some charities would definitely be corrupt.
Yep.
I don't know which ones they are,
Yep.
but I knew I wasn't raising money for a charity that has a CEO on $500,000 a year or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that you could go in personally and find that out for yourself is a massive advantage. When you crossed the finish line for the very last time, that was as you approached Landy Field, I think?
Yeah,
along the Barwon River.
Yeah.
The first emotion, I'm sure there would have been thousands, but the first one that hit when you finished that line. Because there were people waiting. Like I think I saw a video a few days ago.
Yeah. A lot of people there, which was amazing. So hard to articulate, because you picture that moment when you're doing the challenge. When I first decided to do that challenge, I pictured that moment. Like you manifest that moment. You want it so bad. So when you get there, I remember running up to it thinking, how am I supposed to feel right now? Like, I don't know what I should be feeling. And I was just fighting, I don't know. You want to feel it as much as you possibly can. That's the moment you do it for. And I don't know if I could articulate it in any word of how I was feeling. It wasn't relief. I honestly just felt like super supportive, and just emotional.
When was the first time you really got to like reflect on what you actually did? Because in the moment you're probably caught up in all the external emotions. Because it's a big thing that you've accomplished.
I think maybe when we went away, and we went away for a couple nights after it, and I just put the phone away for 2 days. We didn't see another human for 2 days, and I really just had some time to reflect. There was a few weeks after that where I'd try and live back in that moment to help myself reflect on it. But I think when I do these challenges, you do it to be present. It's like, the way I explain it to other people is it's literally the most present you'll ever be in your whole life, because nothing else matters but going through what you're going through at that time.
Yeah.
So I think I reflected on it almost straight away. Yeah, when you have a challenge that's 30 days straight, you almost reflect nearly every day, I think.
What would you say to someone who's, I guess, dealing with like any mental battles that aren't kind of the runner type, that aren't into running? What would you say to someone to get through that?
Look, every single person's journey is going to be different. You might have people in your life that aren't as supportive as others, or you might have some that are. You might have some of the best professional help you can. If you are in the midst of it and you are seriously considering about taking your own life, people are scared of talking about this suicide. They're scared to bring up the word. If someone is on the edge, or you think that they might be on the edge, or if that is you on the edge, talking about whether you do or do not want to take your life is necessary for you to get help. So I did this suicide prevention course back when I was a plumber to be what they called a blue hat on site, so that you could talk to people. And bringing up or asking someone if they're considering taking their own life in the right situation is not going to lead to them taking their own life. They need that person, which could be you, to direct them in the right place for professional help that's going to help them. Yep. So if you're in that position where you think that might be you, you need to open up to someone and you need to seek professional help.
Yep.
If you're just going through, not just going through, I apologize for saying that. If you're going through mental health issues but do not have those thoughts, just lean on the people next to you and have the courage to talk to someone that you trust. Because I know we have Are You OK Day, which is really good, which means that it prompts me to go to you and say, are you okay? But the easiest thing in the world for you to say is, yeah, I'm good, mate. And then it just finishes. The real courage doesn't come from me asking you if you're okay. The real courage comes from you being able to be honest about the fact that you're not okay. And that all starts from like me being the type of person that you feel comfortable enough opening up with. So you need to prompt your mates and your families every single day in a supportive way that says to them, I want you to feel comfortable opening up to me. I'm not going to judge you. I'm going to help you get through anything, no matter what. And then that person will need to find the courage to open up.
Yeah, important, very important. Do you have any other extreme challenges coming up anytime soon?
Just, yeah.
Because it's kind of a thing where you kind of wake up. It's not like you wake up and just decide it by the sounds of it.
There will be something else.
There will be.
I don't have anything. I genuinely don't have any extreme challenges planned out in my mind. Like, the goal this year with running is to get a lot quicker in half marathon and the marathon.
We'll let you announce it when you're ready. Next year perhaps.
Think about
it.
I'm big in telling people your goals, because if you don't put it out into the universe, it's not going to come true. Jinxing is not real. If you think saying something is going to jinx it, then you're losing the ability to speak something into existence.
Yeah.
So next year, I want to run a sub 2 hour 30 marathon, which will be 13 minutes quicker than my PB now, which at that pace is bloody ridiculous. But you got to be naive to put yourself into these positions to reward yourself with big goals and achieving them. So that's what I want to do next year. That's the only goal so far.
Yeah, no, I like it, and something might pop up as well. You never know. What to you, Brady, is success? Because you're a man that has elite, like your mindset is something to behold. What is success to you?
It's funny because you always have this question pop up in many podcasts on people that you idolize, what they say success is. And success to me is literally just being happy with the life that you're currently living. If you're, you know what? It's going to contradict itself, because if you're a little bit unsatisfied, I feel like you will always have the drive to chase something more, and you could be greater, but I don't necessarily define that as success. I think Alex Hormozy said, one of my favorite quotes from him is, the greatest skill in life is the ability to be happy with nothing to be happy about. So if you are willing to be in a bad mood when nothing's even happened to you, why can't you just be in a good mood when nothing's happened?
Yep.
So I think success is just being in a position where you're able to be a happy person. And some people find that through a 9 to 5. For me, being happy is not being... The fear of being average is driving me to be...
above
average, stand out in the crowd, maybe do things that what other people might not necessarily even want to do, and that's what makes me happy. And so that's what I would consider success. I would consider myself successful because I've found a passion in that.
Yeah. And if someone listening takes one thing from your story and does one hard thing tomorrow, what would you tell them to do?
Just do stuff that you wouldn't normally do, and it doesn't have to be running. Like, putting yourself in uncomfortable positions is literally just the ultimate way to grow as a person. And for me, that can be anything. Like, it started off with ice baths, and then it went into longer runs, and now it's obviously developed into really long runs. And I've found a passion in that where I haven't had a passion for I haven't had for anything else. So all I can say is try different things that makes you uncomfortable, and maybe one day you'll find your passion.
Love it. And a rapid fire to finish. This is what it's kind of stupid, kind of not, because there's some questions that are completely meaningless, but then there's some that aren't. There's some that are kind of, they do have meaning. First car.
Subaru Outback.
Like it. Furthest you've run in one stint?
110 Ks.
Extra 10, why is that?
It was when Richie Egan was doing his 200 around the track, and he was taking too long to finish. So I did 110.
I like
that,
it.
Richie.
Best advice you've received?
It'd have to be the Goggins advice, him giving it to someone else, where he said, this is your goal, just go and fucking do it now and stop talking about it, because once you do that, then you can create a new one and tick it off.
Yep. Worst advice you've received? The opposite of that.
Probably like, get a trade until you find out what you want to do with your life. If anyone's telling you that, you being in a position of uncomfortability is going to be where you find your passion in life. And I understand people get stuck in ruts and they don't do anything. I'm the type of person that, put under pressure, is probably going to make something out of it. So,
yep. Brady, you've ran 4,000 plus kilometres this year, 30 marathons in 30 days. What's your favourite vegetable? What gets you through?
Avocado is a fruit, isn't it?
It's got a seed, I think.
I think it's a fruit off a tree.
Yeah.
Far out. Potato or sweet potato?
They're
Let's
really
go sweet potato.
They're really versatile as well.
Yeah, sweet potato.
Favourite animal?
Geez, I'm terrible at these rapid fire questions. It's a
tough one. I used to like a cassowary.
Cassowary?
Yeah, there's those weird things.
Yeah. Look, let's go like a whale shark or something.
Oh, yes, good. Favourite colour?
Blue.
Going out for dinner, what cuisine and what are we ordering?
Oh, mate, absolutely anything.
Anything.
I'm big on travel and international cuisines.
Sure, you've been to a few places.
Yeah, I'm every single cuisine of food.
So you don't even have a favourite, just anything, really?
Going out, I'm just going to say far out. Any type of Asian.
Yep.
They're all good.
Favourite sport to watch?
Footy.
Who do you go for?
AFL. Geelong.
Yep. Most famous person you've met or in your contacts to finish off? Well, David Goggins probably would be. Oh, actually, I can't speak on behalf, but he's got to be up there.
No, I'll leave this. Eliud Kipchoge follows me.
Oi! He's run under 2 hours.
Yeah,
in the
he's the fastest man on earth. In the
marathon.
He hasn't got
from Kenya. That's amazing. That is certainly a flex. Well, Brady, thanks. Hopefully, it'd be cool if he's watching Kipchoge. Thanks for jumping on, mate. It means a lot. Massive elite message what you brought. So yeah, thank you heaps.
Nah, mate, I'm stoked to be on here and thank you so much for bringing me on. I've watched some of your podcasts and you're absolutely killing it. You got a knack for this, so I appreciate you inviting me on.
Thanks, mate. Honoured to have you on. Cheers.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Noah Jones Show. If you enjoyed today's conversation, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and follow along for more amazing stories. See you next time.